Let's try this again. Hey, it's Jane. Thank y'all for being in this masterclass. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so number one, let's talk about, well, maybe we'll talk about how marijuana is a psychedelic. I want to talk about how different things are psychedelics. Different things open up the spiritual realm. So like alcohol, you know, they call it wine and spirits. Well, y'all know there's a reason for that. This is all stuff that we already know, but I kind of want to bring it to the forefront. Hold on, there's some people coming in. Let me admit them. All right. So, sorry guys. All right. The next masterclass will be better than this. It's a little ghetto fabulous, but we get into it, okay? All right, so I do want to talk about the fact that marijuana is a psychedelic. You know, LSD is a psychedelic. Alcohol is a spirit. So number one, y'all know when you mix alcohol, it makes you throw up. So me and my partner were talking about this before I came on here. We were talking about when you mix different spirits that don't go with your spirit, right? These are things that we say, but it doesn't, sometimes we don't take it literal, right? But it is literal. It's all, see, I'm trying to figure out how deep we want to go. We're going to get into it. We're going to get a little deeper, but a lot of these words that we use, you know how they say the English language is a curse. So that's why people who speak multiple languages, I really have a lot of respect for them. Me, I'm trying to learn another language because I feel like English don't really cut it all the time. So a lot of times we'll say something and we're like, oh, whatever. Like, oh, that's not what that means. But isn't it though? So marijuana is a psychedelic. I think a lot of us, it's so like regular now. Everybody smoke marijuana. So we forget that it is a psychedelic. And a psychedelic takes you to another dimension. But anyway, let's start from the top. A straw to the universe won't cut it. So I was saying how religion brings you to spirituality. Okay? So whether that be a more spiritual religion, Christianity, Hindu, doesn't matter what you practice. I'm not one of those people who's going to tell you to not practice a religion because I don't believe that. If you want to practice a religion, that's on you, you know? Because let me tell you something. At the end of the day, I feel like all of us started in the church. A lot of us started in the church. A lot of us have had a pastor that brought us to it. Whatever it was, we had our grandma that taught us the scripture or whatever it is. Because even when you're in the church or even when you're in some sort of religion, they're always teaching you how to get closer to your higher self, get closer to the Holy Spirit, get closer to whatever it is, right? So I'm not here to preach hate. And that's why I was trying to say, like, when you tell people what they can and cannot do, you're limiting them. How the fuck you know what I'm supposed to do? Do you know me? Like, you don't know me. So it's just like, the question here was how many atoms do you have in your body? Right? ATOM. I don't think any of us know how many atoms we have in our body. So if you don't know how many atoms you have in your body, that's a good way to say, well, damn, we're really all different. So you mean to tell me if I grew up in England or if I grew up in Guyana, you think I'm going to understand things the same way the next person does? No. It's just not possible. So I think a lot of people try to put spirit. This is what I'm gonna do. I might just not look at the camera. I'm gonna just go. This is what people do. And it's a human thing to do. We like to limit the spirit. You can't do that. You can't limit the universe because then you're missing out on people. Because then you get into the whole what is good, what is evil, what is right, what is wrong. Who's to say what the fuck is right? Who's to say what's wrong? You don't know what this person went through. You don't know if this person was abused in their life. You don't know if this person had a silver spoon. You just don't know who these people are because they have a different genetic makeup. Every 7 years, we change. Our DNA changes every 7 years. So you mean to tell me that's what I hope I'm making sense. I know I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm just letting the spirit work through me because it's like this. If this might work for you one day and then something else will work for you the next day. So you can't limit yourself. Okay. Don't ever limit yourself. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like when we see people that preach the word and they're like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. I'm always wary of people who tell you what not to do. Because at the end of the day, it's like, yes, there is right and wrong. Yes, there are like rules and everything, but things change. Because like I said, oh my God, y'all, I'm so sorry for y'all on Zoom. This shit keep falling down. Hold on. Hopefully it'll stay. Okay. So if I'm born in England and you're born in Guyana, we don't even speak the same language. So how the hell how can what you're going through touch me? You see, a lot of people get too caught up in trying to be right and having a God complex and this and this and that. It's like, it's a lot of like manipulation going on. It's a lot of like, at the end of the day, just because somebody's spiritual or just because somebody is religious or something, their spirit doesn't change. So if they're like an empathetic person, you're not going to stop being empathetic just because you went to the spirit. If you a hater, you ain't going to stop being a hater just because you believe in the spirit. Now, that's just not going to happen. I think if anything, you get, it blows up. So this is why there's a lot, I feel like, this is why there's a lot of religions. There's a lot of different spiritual practices, and I'm here for it. If you're a person that's religious, that's you. If you're a person that's more spiritual, that's you too. At the end of the day, we're all getting to the same destination. It depends on you. So if you're a person, for example, it's just like your learning style. That's where it really comes in at. Once you learn your learning style, it'll help you develop how to talk to the spirit. That's when we get into clairvoyance and clairaudience, things like that, Conversation that I was just having yesterday was like, you got some people who have visions, some people don't. There's a lot of this. Social media is a mess, honestly. Internet, my bad, is a mess, It makes people feel less than, and that's not cool. That's not what was going on. And whether you're Christian, whether you grew up in, it doesn't even matter if you know the story about Jesus. We're going to talk about it real quick because it's just like, what was Jesus doing from 27 to 30? This isn't for me, I'm not preaching Christian. I'm just telling you it's a story. Just like the Quran, there's stories. Just like the book The Alchemist, there's a story. To me, I feel like religion is helping you understand things through a story. That's to me. So when we talk about Jesus, he's common. We know, those of us who know, we know that he was a diviner. He was divining for 3 years. Don't shoot me. That's just in my learnings, okay? He divined for 3 years, and then he went out and spoke the word. You see, he had to figure out who he was. He had to get to the spirit on his own. You see what I'm saying? And that's the same thing with, you see how it keeps falling? Yeah. I don't know why it keeps falling. Like, I'm about to just take it off and do it like this. It's getting on my nerves. Thank you. Okay, that's gonna have to work for now. I'm gonna just leave it like this. Baby, it's not working. Let me see. Okay, well, let me skip. Let me go to spiritual hygiene. So, anytime that you're doing any sort of work, anytime that you're doing any sort of spiritual work too, you also want to make sure that you cleanse yourself. So, spiritual baths, when it comes to baptisms and things like that, like when they talked about the Bible, they talked about washing your feet and things like that. Why do they talk about that? To me, it's because, the feet are where the ancestors are at. So, they say that that's where people talk to you through. When people use like voodoo dolls on you and stuff, they like to poke at you. Sometimes they poke at your feet because that's your connection to your ancestors, to the source. Your feet touch the ground. You want to keep your feet clean because they touch a lot of dirty stuff. And literally, like when you feel different pokes in your bodies and, things like this, sage. You don't have to use sage. I know it's a close practice, but there's coffee grinds that you can use. Salt, Epsom salt in the water. When you're doing a spiritual bath, you want to make sure that you're doing a lukewarm bath, not like a hot one. It's better if it's like cold, but baby, I don't do cold water like that. So I do like a lukewarm one, but you don't want to do a hot water. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it's suggested to do like a lukewarm closer to the colder side because our ancestors, they didn't have no fucking plumbing. So they were in the rivers and they were in, the ocean. They were doing their thing in regular natural water. So there was really no way for them to heat it up. I mean, unless they boiled it, why would they do all that? They're not about to do all that. So when they was getting in the river was just, bye, enemy. Let me open up this window. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, and also whenever you're doing a spiritual bath, don't use running water either. you know. Put it in like a jug or something. Like there's different ways that you can do it. I use like a big bucket, put my water in there, put my ingredients, you know, my quesadilla, you know, my little liquor, you know, lavender, whatever it is that you use, Epsom salt, coffee grinds. They got something called a brown bath. That's supposed to be really, really good for you too. Pour it on your body, use your hands, whatever you want. But just make sure when you're getting the water, if you want to get the ingredients off of you, don't use running water. Because the running water will like flush it down the drain. You know, it's kind of like getting it off of you. But yeah, I really have a lot of passion about the straw to the universe thing, because it's not going to cut it. So like I said, if you feel like you hear a commercial and you feel like it's just people speaking to you, they probably are. Now, at the end of the day, we do know that people be listening through our electronics. So, you know. But if you step outside and you hear somebody talking and they're answering a conversation that you just had, how could they know that? They don't know you. You know, so a lot of times when you share these experiences with people, it's kind of like they're not going to understand it, because that's not part of their universe. That's not part of their reality. So it kind of sucks when you're on this journey, but it sucks that people don't always get it. And I don't mean that in a, oh, like everybody's against me way. No, I just mean like I said, back to the England and Guyana thing. If somebody's not in your reality, if they're not you, they're not going to understand. So like if you went to sleep and you had a dream and you saw something specific in your dream, nobody else saw that but you. So if you go outside the next day and you see something pertaining to your dream, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, how the fuck can somebody else know? But if you tell them, they're going to be like, oh, like either they're not going to get it, they're going to start hating, because they're going to be like, well, why do you get sons? And you know what I mean? There are going to be people who love you, and you know what I'm saying? But even when people love you and they want to understand, sometimes they don't understand. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you got to walk your own pathway. And I also wanted to talk about dream walking too, but like, remember what I said, like a lot of these, a lot of these divine, like conversations that you're going to have outside, and like just synchronicities are for your own. And honestly, I don't really share stuff with people. You know, like when you go through something, I'm not saying to be by yourself, because I definitely believe in having a team, having a family, like that's cool. But there are certain things where you're not going to be able to share it with nobody. Does that make sense? Because they're going to dampen your spirit on accident. I don't even believe that people purposely hurt your feelings. Like, yes, there are some people who are going to purposely try to hurt you. Yes. But that's not what we're talking about. There's going to be just people who, they're not in your reality. They don't have the same genetic makeup as you. So they're just not going to, they didn't have the same dream you had. They didn't have the same conversation that you had. They're not living your life, you know? So that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't have a problem with religion. I don't, personally. I know a lot of people do, but there's no, to me, that's not my path. If somebody calls me and they're like, Jane, look, I get it, but I need some structure. A lot of people just need structure in their life, you know? So that's why they go to religion. Religion has, when I was in a Christian, I was an apostolic Pentecostal bitch. You know what I mean? So if they was falling out catching the Holy Ghost, and I felt the Spirit in there a lot. You know, that's me. So I'm never going to tell somebody to not, you see what I'm saying? If that's how you get to the Spirit, that's how you get to the Spirit. And so I was in that for a while, and then I just got to the point where I personally just needed a little bit more. But my pastors were preaching to me, and they was getting through to me, and I still got a pastor that I consult with every once in a while that talks to me about the cosmos. You just got to find what, you know what I mean? You just have to find what works for you. I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not here to tell you anything. Get to the Spirit the way that you can get to it. Anybody that's going to help you cleanse your mind, cleanse your body, help you meditate, that works for you. I do feel like people who get highly spiritual eventually do walk away from the church, but that's not everybody. And I don't think that, when I say walk away from the church, I think that they probably walk away from the traditional church, and maybe they don't just stay there. But a real spiritualist is going to like a church, to be honest. Like, a real one is going to like it, because you got roots in that. Your ancestors, especially if you do ancestral veneration, you know what I'm saying? Your ancestors, they used to read the Bible. Like if you're black, if you have black in your, black or Hispanic, normally your ancestors were praying with the Bible. So if you want to make a connection to your higher self, if you want to make a connection to your ancestors, your grandmothers, your elders, things like that, you need to learn how to speak a language that makes sense to them. So I say all that to say this: a lot of religion is just a story. Because at the end of the day, I've even seen people talk about, oh, is Jesus real? Like, was he real? Was he not? I got to thinking about that shit, and I was like, well, I might sound controversial, but in a way, does it matter if he was real? I don't really know that that's really what matters. Like, I'm not saying I think Jesus was real, but I don't really care if anyone believes that, because the point is the story still makes sense because you can still utilize that in your life. You see what I'm trying to say? Just like with Muhammad, the prophet, like you just have to learn Buddha. You have to learn what works for you. Some people like Rashad Jamal. I mean, some people feel like Nipsey was like Jesus. I'm just trying to say, like, why does it matter? See, I think a lot of the times that's why limiting the spirit and the universe in a straw is a fucking problem. Because then we start talking about stuff that doesn't matter. Oh, well, Jesus said this. He said that. Oh, this isn't true. You can't do that. So you running your trap. You doing all that. And we still all out here lost in the sauce. Still getting beat up by our shadow side. Still got attachments stuck to us. You arguing with me, but that doesn't make a difference to me because I still got attachments on me arguing with you. You see what I'm saying? So I really believe in shadow work. Shadow work, of course, I'm sure y'all have heard that 1,000 times. Shadow work is really, it's just all the stuff about yourself that you don't like. Clean it up from under the rug like my grandma do. My grandma come over my house. She'll flip the... One time my grandma came to my house, flipped the fucking rug in my bathroom and was like, you ain't sleep under here. What's this? To me, that's what shadow work is. You can't hide it for too long. You know what I'm saying? Because you can hide it from everybody else, but when you go to sleep at night, when you're in a relationship, when you're in a loving relationship, whether it be with your friends, like family, or a lover, right? Those things come out. And when we get to talking about relationships, you know what I'm saying? That's when it really comes out. You can't hide nothing. When you're really in a relationship, you really can't hide it. So at the end of the day, all this stuff is for you, for us. I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks about me. I don't care. And that's exactly how y'all feel. Make sure you feel that way. That's how you really feel. I mean, that's how you really feel. Even if you forget that's how you feel, you really don't care what people think, and you shouldn't. As long as you're okay with yourself, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you think the universe put all these billions of people on the earth for all of us to be the same person? We would all be great. We would all be a robot. I'm not a robot, are you? No. You see, I'm doing this masterclass. My thing keep falling on the floor and doing everything else, I damn near wanted to give up, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, who cares? Like, this is what we make it, I like to be very transparent with people because we're human beings. Like, nobody is perfect. Nobody knows. Nobody knows the truth. Like, are we God? No, I don't want to be God. That's too much responsibility. Like, so anyway, when it comes down to signs, when it comes down to temperaments, why do you think some people are more bubbly? Some people are more reserved. Some people are blind. Come on. Some people are blind. Some people are deaf. Some people are missing limbs. Like, they're not going to be able to understand we're not going to be able to understand certain things about them because we don't go through that. So you mean there's even a conversation about if Helen Keller was real, blind and deaf. She somehow, again, if she was real or not, does not matter. The story is out there for a reason. People don't just make this shit up for no reason. It comes from somewhere. So if a person like Helen Keller was blind and deaf, whether you believe in her or not, like believe that she was real or not, that's not the conversation that I'm trying to have. I really hope you guys can understand what I'm saying. She still found a way. How the fuck you think she wrote a book and did all this stuff and started learning language, never heard anything, never saw anything in her life? There must have been another way. But you see, somebody like me, I'm thank you God, knock on wood, I can see and I can hear. So how would I know how to me, I'm looking at that and I'm like, how the fuck did she do that? Like, how is that possible? The spirit. And that's a funny example. I know that's kind of off, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. There are so many different people. There are people living in Afghanistan who don't eat every day. There are people who they go through a lot of spiritual warfare. So it causes them to be in different situations. Just like Jesus. Same thing with Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth. He lived in another time. These people put this man on the cross. Like, beat him bloody, and he still kept his faith. These people hated him. They didn't believe in him. They just did anything to just dismiss him after they saw him put ears back on people. They saw him resurrect Lazarus. Like, they saw this with their own two eyes and still crucified him. So to me, it's like this. It's like, all right, when you really sit back and think about it, it's like, bro, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. At the end of the day, somebody is still watching you. You need to make sure that that you're true to yourself. That's another thing. We go through a lot of tests. We go through a lot of fucking tests. You're going to be tested to see, do you really believe in what you say you believe in? Like, for example, if you're, let's say that there's just situations where you're tested and you're going to be put on ice. You're going to be put on ice. You're going to be put on the burner where the enemy is going to try to get you to turn on somebody or try to get you to turn on your own beliefs. Oh, yeah, nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to see you. You ain't got to stand up for this person. You ain't got to do that. You sure? You know how they say no snitches? You know, snitches get stitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that. It's kind of like that. It's like, if you believe in it, because here's the thing, right? If you're giving in to, like, let's say there's a cause that you believe in, right? But most people don't believe in that cause or something like that. And you could damn near get persecuted for this cause, but you know in your heart that it's right. And the Spirit told you, you know it's right. Are you going to give in because there's a lot of pressure on you like Peter did? You know, Peter denied Jesus 3 times. And Jesus told him in his face, was like, baby, you're going to deny me, but it's cool. Peter like, nah, I would never. Da, da, da. Why? Because Peter was in a safe space. Peter was around people who believed in him. But then when Peter was in a big ass crowd of people who wanted to persecute him and all his homies, he was like, oh, no. I don't even know him. But spent the last however many years walking with Jesus. Judas betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver, baby. And then some people say that somebody gave me an idea that said Judas and Jesus was in on it. That Jesus told Judas to do it. And look, you got to stick to the script. When you pick a side, you got to stick to your side. Okay. I also wrote down, peel off the dead skin like dandruff, like for new growth. Moisturize yourself for new growth, because just like a snake sheds their layers, you're going to shed parts of yourself. So at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. Don't limit yourself. Don't feel bad for falling. You're going to fall. You're a human. There's going to be weapons that are formed against you. That's going to happen. There's going to be people who don't agree with what you think. And that's okay. You know? And at the end of the day, your ideas are going to change. Your mind is going to change. As your life progresses, as you advance yourself and figure out who you are. Because a lot of times, we are taken from who we are. That's how I feel. Especially if you're a woman. You know, I love my men, but I'm just saying, especially with women, we are really taught that we're supposed to be a certain way. We're supposed to We're supposed to just be, you know, perfect all the time, pretty all the time, smile all the time, so fucking nice. Like, I'm not that nice. I'm sure y'all aren't either. Because we're human beings. We have emotions. We go through things. People are mothers. People are grandmothers. People are sisters. That's a heavy burden right there. Pushing out a child? Baby, what? Let me admit this person. Yeah, like pushing out a child. I've never pushed out a child. Never. And I have and you want to know why? Because I'm scared. You know, and you know how much respect I have for women that have pushed out children. And not just that. And even if you can't have children, or even if you don't want to have children, and that's another thing. Don't let nobody make you, that's another thing. For women specifically, they always make us feel, oh, you going to have kids? Oh, you going to get married? Why? Are you going to push a kid out for me? Are you going to be in this marriage for me? Don't worry about me. Like, don't fucking worry about me. Because at the end of the day, I also feel like when you're in a relationship or you have your own family, that's also you communing with the divine. I feel like that's you communing with the universe as well. So you don't need to let nobody, you know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody make you feel like all your worth is kids. And if you don't want that, if you do want that, don't let nobody stop you. But let me tell you something about women, period, point blank. The women were the ones that were allowed to bring life onto the earth. And that's just fact. That's just fact. I'm not here to fight with nobody about it. That's just fact. Women have a womb. W-O-M-B. So they're automatically chosen in my eyes. Now, the men, I'm not saying that they're not. But I'm just saying, you see, everybody has a role. So when it comes to women, I really feel like, especially with women, who the fuck can tell us anything? Sorry, God, the Creator didn't choose you to bring life. You can hate me all you want, but is that a lie? Did I lie? Did I lie? No, I did not lie. And there were times, I even believe that there were times where women used to have babies without men. Asexual, but that ain't this kind. We ain't gonna go into that. I don't want nobody to cancel me yet. All right, but like I said, you know, peel off the dead skin, because you have to go through this shit. If you ain't never been through nothing, how can you really heal your family? How can you really heal yourself? You see, how can you really find out the spirit? To me, You know, like when you're fasting, why do we fast? If anybody's ever fasted, I'm sure y'all have. Why do you fast? So that you can be kind of like, I'm not saying be empty, but have nothing else but to turn to God. And I'm thinking of like when you're put in a real life situation. Have you guys ever been in a real life situation? Like, I don't want to put no names to it, but close to death or close to jail. Just like a real life situation, like real quick, right? Doesn't your mind change in that very instant? Like right then and there, like, or something doesn't work out. Your mind just changes right then and there. Like, and I feel like we do that on the regular, but we just kind of go with the flow. Why? Because God is ever changing. The universe is ever changing. So that's why I'm really, really big on don't limit yourself. Don't worry about nobody telling you, oh, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. If it works for you, it fucking works for you. If you're not hurting nobody, then why does it matter? If you're a spiritual worker, make sure that you cover your head. Cleanse your head wraps if you wear them. If you don't, it doesn't fucking matter. I don't care what you do. You got to do what you want to do. You know, protect your head though. Like, make sure that you're meditating in the morning. If you can, like, just sit in silence for 5 or 7 minutes. You know, I love to say meditate, but at the end of the day, we got to get there. Everybody can't do that. Like, you don't fucking know what people go through. Some people got a screaming baby in the next room and they ain't got time to meditate. I mean, it is what it is, you know? But if you can just sit with yourself for like 5-10 minutes, that's a good way to start your day off instead of starting with chaos. Especially people who have a heavy job. Like if you're a person who a lot of people pull on your energy, no matter what you do, if you're a lawyer, if you're a police officer, if you're a spiritual worker, if you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you work at a nursery home, like, you know what I'm saying? Give yourself some time to just sit with yourself. Now, if you can do longer than 10 minutes, that's great. But don't beat yourself up if you don't have time. Just make a little bit of time and your higher self will see you. Does that make sense? Because you got to give yourself a little bit of time to cleanse your body. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the baptism is just like a spiritual bath. I mean, what else is a spiritual bath? Water. You know? I mean, if you use water and salt, you're good. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like to make it too hard for y'all. If you use water and salt, that's good enough. Anything else is a plus. You know, there are going to be some spiritualists that might be like, oh, you know, we ain't worried about them. For me, for my collective, I like to demystify the mystical because we are living in this fucked up world every day. Period, point blank. So the way that for my gospel, I really feel like those of us who just make an effort, do you know how much better you're doing than everyone else? And nobody likes to tell you that. Some people do. But the control is in your hands. When you decided to wake up and be on this masterclass, this ghetto masterclass that keep falling down, you just showed yourself that you deserve better. The fuck? Who told you to be here? Nobody. You did. You didn't have to do that. And I really appreciate y'all. You really didn't have to do that. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like you're peeling off the dead skin for new skin to grow. It's like, okay, just like with manifesting, when they say you want to manifest money, take everything out of your wallet. Like, don't make sure you don't have any, like receipts and trash, like in your purse. Because if there's no space for new money, how's it going to refill? So spiritual hygiene, let me see. Oh, another thing about spiritual hygiene, when I'm talking about the internet, I'm not trying to bash the internet. I'm not. I just feel really passionate because I happen to be a millennial, okay? I'm a millennial, but my family raised me a little bit differently. They made me, when I was a kid, I hated it. I hated it. I was like, what the fuck? But now that I'm older, I'm glad they did this. They made me go outside. They didn't let me drink soda. They didn't let me like watch TV too much. And I was jealous of all the other kids. You know, I definitely wanted to do that. But when I got older, I thought about it like, damn, you know what? I'm glad they did that because I am connected to my phone just as much as anyone else, but I feel like it's a little bit easier for me to pull back because when I was a kid, I wasn't really allowed to do that growing up. So I'm not really moved by social media like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We all go through our attention-seeking ways. Like, we all go through that. I didn't have a dad, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, I went through the whole daddy issues thing, like, but I had to work my way out of that. And I'm just sharing that for you guys because it's like, it doesn't matter what you've chosen before. You can change yourself. But if you listen to people who keep telling you like, oh, if you don't pray every Sunday, you know what I mean? Oh, if you don't celebrate the Sabbath, if you eat pork, then you're a piece of shit. Like, bitch, I like bacon. You know what I mean? Like, shut up. I used to be vegetarian. I want to go back, but like one thing at a time. We are humans. We are imperfect. I think I'm going to close it up in a little bit. But like I said, listen, cut it. Who cares? Because those people who, I just did a message about this on TikTok. Those people who act like they're so perfect, who act like they shit don't stink, they're humans just like you, and they're insecure just like us. Period. Okay? And then one more thing that I wanted to talk about is dream walking. Okay? I have been noticing a lot of stuff going on in the dream world. Now, I used to not really be a dreamer like that. I know a lot of people who are dreamers. I want you to know, anybody who's watching this video, if you have dreams, you are special. Period, okay? And I know people be like, oh, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. Is it? Is it? Is it just a dream? Or is it another reality? See, I don't want to go too deep on that. But listen, if you're a dreamer, that's a special thing to be. Especially if you're a dreamer. So when you go to sleep at night, you know, try not to like let the TV just play. You know, I'm not saying that you can't let TV shows play, but be cautious. Oh, let me see. Somebody else trying to enter. Be cautious. Let me see something. I don't know how to let them in. Yeah. So be cautious of what your that's okay, man. I'm about to end it. Thank you. Be cautious of what you're listening to. So especially if you're like listening to like meditation, that's real good for you. Okay? Don't be playing like toxic stuff while you're sleeping, because your mind is programming. Your subconscious is programming while you're sleeping. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been having people come in my dreams and try to fight me. And I know who they are. They're people that I know in real life. Like, I actually just had somebody in a dream the other day, and I know y'all are going to do this. I had a big manifestation in my dream. Just put it like that. I had a really good dream. Okay? And somebody popped up in my dream, this chick that I haven't seen in over a year. And I already have a weird feeling about her, like she be trying to put witchcraft on me, you know. And in my dream, I literally looked at her. I said, you're in here too? I said this to her. I said, you're in there too? She was like, yeah. I said, oh, okay. Why the fuck they in your dreams? If you ain't never talked to this person, because, you know, some people who are not like us, they're going to be like, oh, it's just a dream. It's just your subconscious. That's true. But if there's a person that you've not even thought about in 2 years, how is that your subconscious just fucking with you? I don't know everything. I'm not a dream interpreter, but I'm just saying, pay attention to what's going on in your dream. Pay attention to what you're seeing. If you see babies in your dream, if you see different people, if you see different things happening, put water underneath your bed. Take a glass of water, put some salt around it. That shows your ancestors that you need help in your sleep. This is stuff that y'all already know, but I'm just reiterating little things that can help you. Water next to your bed, drink it. But yeah, start off with, yeah, sorry, somebody's trying to enter. Start off with meditation while you're sleeping. Like right now, I got an Archangel Michael on. Okay? Another thing, the angels and the D words, the D-E-M words, they're more similar than we know. They're similar, but they're different. You know what I'm saying? When you start to work with spiritual beings, like, again, don't limit your mind. Don't, you know how they say the angels walk up on us and they be like, fear not. Let me see. Oh. You know how the angels will walk up on the people and they have to walk up on them like, fear not, you know, fear not. And so when I used to hear that in church, you know, it's just like, whatever. But when I really started to research it, I say, well, wait a minute. They say fear not because they must look scary. So, you know, I just think it's all right for all of us to mingle. We all chose to incarnate on this ghetto-ass, weird-ass planet for a reason. We all wanted to go to school. We all wanted to learn something, and we all wanted to be our best versions of ourselves. But I will say this. When it comes to a lot of beings that have never walked the earth, I feel like a human experience is very special because we get to experience different emotions that other beings don't even know exist. Like happiness, sadness, complacency. There's certain things that they just don't go through. Free will. A lot of planets don't even I didn't know this, but a lot of planets don't even have free will. I didn't know that. So pay attention to your dreams because you're going to another dimension. Whether somebody wants to admit that to you or not, you are going to another dimension. Yes, you are. And something's happening because you're living out another life. And that's period, point blank. So, like I said, when you're sleeping, play your meditation music, calm your mind. Now, I got to work on this. Try not to be on the phone right before you go to sleep. I still do it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm very transparent about this. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all my shortcomings so that you know that, like, nobody's fucking perfect. And if you're perfect, then why are you here? They say if you know everything, then you're supposed to be dead. That's what they say. There's too much. The divine is too vast. The universe, the God, however you want to source, whatever you believe in, it's too vast. It's too much. Because the moment that you learn something, buckle up, buttercup. They're about to show you something else. You know what I'm saying? So take your time. A book that I literally just started reading is called The Alchemist. I'm sure a lot of you guys have read that. If you haven't, I think you should read it. Baby, I just read like the first credits and it broke me down. Like, bitch, I was reading the credits and it was already like making my mind go crazy. I've been rereading the Bible. I'm going to start doing some videos on that. So just worry about you. If you love the Bible, you love the fucking Bible. If you love the Quran, then you love the Quran. And don't let nobody stop you. Don't let nobody, how many people try to come for me like, how are you spiritual and Christian? How are you in my face? You don't got to answer nothing. That ain't nothing but the enemy trying to get a reaction out of you. Just like on Passion of the Christ. I used to be very like, honestly, when I first started going public with my gifts, I was nervous about talking about Jesus, because I was like, damn, like, how are these people going to receive me? I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. Because I know it's a big thing to dismiss Jesus. I know that. But for me, Jesus helped me. So I'm never going to dismiss somebody that helped me. And then I started to learn Jesus is an ascended master. And that's something that me and Jesus had a conversation about in my kitchen one day. So that's me, though. So if you guys were raised a certain way, you don't have to stop. If you're a Catholic, if Catholicism brought you to the spirit and you still like going to, I've never been to a Catholic church. I think one time for a funeral, but like, if that's your thing, that's your fucking thing. This whole universe is a blended situation. Everybody knows, baby, before there was light, it was dark. Before there was good and evil, there was dark. There was a void. There was a black hole. The universe just wanted to experience itself. This is why there's angels and D words. This is why the angels say fear not. Because let me tell you, the angels, they ain't no pushovers. They're not mean, but they're on the side that they're on and they mean business. Like, because they got to slay people. You think Archangel Michael is about to be down here petting a puppy? I don't think so. I was watching this movie. I went to the movies and apparently Archangel Michael is the one that they call on in the exorcisms. Archangel Raphael. I work with angels. Some people work with D words. Listen, and I don't say the D word in my house because they're not invited here. But at the end of the day, do what works best for you. For me, I'm not about to work with no D words, I'm not about to like work hand in hand with them. But I do work with certain deities. I don't really share my deities with people because I've had people try to fucking buy my shit up before. That's another thing I want to talk to y'all about. Spirit guides. Don't tell people who your spirit guides up because they'll try to bind your shit up. Everybody is not like you. Remember that. So that's what I'm trying to say. Them motherfuckers who are preaching whatever they're preaching, they gonna do whatever they want to do behind the back. Behind your back, behind everybody else's back. Because social media and internet is new. Most people who are practitioners, they weren't. There was nobody to check them. There was nobody to look at what they're doing. There's nobody for them to record their spell work and this and that. I'm not being shady. I'm just trying to say, like, we get caught up in validation and needing people to believe us. I know how that feels and everything, but that's an inner thing. That's a shadow work thing that you have to identify within yourself. You see what I'm saying? Why do you care what somebody thinks? I mean, like, I'm just being for real. Like, I had to ask myself these questions. Like, why do I care? Do I really care? I don't really care. Like, why do I care? I had to ask myself that. Because why? Because I didn't feel like I was enough? Okay, there. That's the answer. But for me, I like to pop out looking good and nobody knows what I'm doing. That's me. I like to manifest a whole new life nobody knows and then pop out and boom, I'm living whole different. And then everybody looking at me like, how the fuck she did that? That's my satisfaction because God is real. At the same time, yes, you can show, it's okay to show progress. That's all right. But y'all know what I'm saying. Those that get it know what I'm saying. You don't got to show people every single thing that you do because that's inviting the evil eye. You know what I'm saying? And people not going to understand. So this I was going to say, my bad. Certain deities that I work with are considered, they ain't considered good. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it like that. But I know who my deity is. I work with them because there's the deities that my family's been working with. There's a couple of deities that I be seeing people work with my deities online. And I be seeing them and I'm just like, I still don't speak up on who I work with because I don't have nothing to prove. You know, I see people make their whole life around the deities that I work with, and they come to me because, you know, my grandma been working with them. But I don't share this with people because the comprehension level of these spirits and the deities, it's so big. You know what I mean? It's like the comprehension level, it's just like we can't even comprehend them. Does that make sense? I'm going to just give y'all a tip. One of the deities that I work with, I saw a serial killer working with this deity. I'm going to just keep it funky. I didn't know it. I seen it. I was like, is that? You know, I was looking at something and I seen something in the background and it was one of my deities. And I said, is that? Child. That's what I did, you see? So I don't like to share things because first of all, I don't like people in my business. I don't want to probably trying to fucking worship my deities and get all up in my business, to be honest. And I don't want nobody trying to bind my shit up. I don't got time for that. But also the comprehension level. So like I said, when it comes to these angels, when it comes to these evil words, just do your research. Know what you're doing. Because like I said, before there was good and evil, there was darkness. Okay? Do what works for you. If you and this deity work together in this certain type of way, that's just it. If your grandma works with this deity and the deity came to you, that's it. Period. Point blank. If you're initiated in this practice, that's just it. You don't got to share nothing with nobody else because people are going to love and they going to hate, to be honest. If people knew the deities I work with, they would hate on me. I'm just being honest. And that's not like I'm acting like no, a lot of things that you guys do, especially if you're a practitioner, the people are going to hate on you. They're going to hate on you. You see? Oh, how did you get Archangel Michael to... They just start hating on you. And that's not what you're... And I know that the reason why we put stuff out is not for people to hate on you. It's for people to understand it. That's what I'm saying. But we're not in their universe. We don't know what's going on in their mind to make them not understand us. Because instead of them seeing like, oh, wow, I'm close to... Okay, this is how I see it. If I meet somebody that works with one of the archangels, right? I'm looking at it like, oh, damn, like, okay. Like, I can learn from you. You see what I'm saying? Or I'm closer to that deity than I was before. Or that angel than I was before. But some people are going to look at it like, oh, why can't I wish that da-da-da-da. Oh, you wanted to get your ass beat? Because these angels ain't that nice. Okay? They're not. These deities, they're not that nice. These ancestors, they are not that nice. And we don't need them to be nice. Because this ain't a nice world. They love you. It's tough love. It's not. So anyway, like I said, I feel like now I'm going in a circle, but I really hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I really appreciate y'all for being here. Because like I said, these dreams are getting wild. Okay? You're cleaning up your act. The only way people can talk to you and touch you is coming in your dreams. And even then, I hope you're whipping ass and taking names. Because I have had some people like, and I haven't told them. You see what I'm saying? I don't tell people when I see them in my dreams. I keep it to myself. Now, you can tell them. I'm not saying, I don't know. It's up to you. But for me, I don't like to show on my cards. You know? And I'm really sharing this with you guys because I'm a content creator. I'm just me. I'm Jane. That's me. I'm just me. I've been hearing spirits for a long time. And honestly, I think a lot of us have. Let's be really honest. I think a lot of us have been tapped into the divine for a long fucking time. But we just don't know that because everybody makes you feel like, oh, well, if you don't have visions, then you ain't shit. Child. No, that's not true. Cause me, I feel stuff a lot. I hear stuff a lot. You know, I hear things. I have visions, yes, but that's not my strongest point. I can be frank and say that. I do have visions, but not like certain people that I know. Certain people that I know have, bitch, like they see the whole thing for 10 years straight. You know what I mean? That's not me. And I'm not scared to say that. I like to tell you guys that because listen, however you get the message is how you get the message. So a lot of times, like, I get a lot of downloads. I'm more of a download type of person. I'm more of a sensation. Like, I'm a smell. I can smell stuff. I can hear stuff. I can feel stuff in my head. Like, you know, if somebody had an injury in their head, I can feel it, you know? And then that leads to my visions. But I really love y'all a lot. And I feel like a lot of people don't love themselves enough, especially healers. Some healers don't love themselves enough to be able to love you. And I feel like we're supposed to have a sisterhood, a brotherhood. We're supposed to be like a family, because ultimately we're all children of the divine one. That's how I feel, you know? And I feel like if God is all knowing and all seeing, you know what I mean? And we all believe that, why are there angels? Why are there D words? Why is there good? Why is there bad? Because the universe wanted to experience itself. So don't beat yourself up, or don't let nobody beat you up because like, well, you cheated. You did this. You quit your job. You changed your religion. You changed how you, and I'm gonna keep doing it. So my body changes. Like I said, how many atoms do I have in my body? I have a lot of makeup in my body. My body changes. It goes from hot to cold. Bitch. Sometimes I want to be in a swimming pool. Sometimes I want to be in a hot tub. Sometimes I want to go skating. Sometimes I want to lay in my bed. So how is that any different from your spiritual experience? So, for me, I'm mixed, I'm Black, and then my mom, them are Asian and a little European. I don't like to tell people that, but it's the truth. So the way that I practice is different. Like when I was a little kid, like I used to see, and I'm just sharing this because I know a lot of you guys go through this. Like when I was a kid, I used to look at, and I didn't even know this was a part of spiritual practice. I would look at, cars, and the cars would have faces on them. I can still see that to this day. Normal as fuck to me. But it wasn't until I was maybe, I don't know, like a teenager or something. I think I said it. I was like, oh yeah, don't you see that face? And motherfuckers looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I know that y'all go through that. The TV, the TV, like, bitch, you could see something on TV and you be in a room with somebody and you looking at them like, and it's a sign. It's a clear sign. And you looking at the TV, look at your person, like look at your friend, look back at the TV, be like, bitch, did you see that? And they're like, what? No, what are you talking about? You could even rewind it, replay it, and you looking at that shit like you ain't just hear that, and they're like, bitch, are you sick? You know what I mean? Does this make sense? So a lot of these divine interventions are on your own. So like I said, look, I keep my Bible with me. Okay? That's me though. That's me though. And if you love the Bible, you love the Bible. If you love the Quran, you love the Quran. If you love meditating, you love meditating. If you love yoga, you love yoga. Period. If you like talking to your grandma and just knitting with her, doing a crochet, talking to your homegirls, if you like learning about astrophysics, who fucking cares? I honestly feel like science and, see, this is going to get me fucked up, but I feel like science and spirituality are very close. I personally do. So I think a lot of the things that we go through spiritually are proven. I think they can be proven. And I think that it's just up to us, because at the end of the day, they was telling us that UFOs wasn't real forever. And now they can't wait to tell us that the UFOs are real, because so much other stuff is, look at that, I hit myself in the mouth. So much other stuff is coming out now that they don't really want us to know the truth. So listen, UFOs, aliens, in my experience, I work a lot with galactic beings. They're some of my favorites because they're highly advanced. They don't have the same rules as us. Like I told you guys, some of these planets and dimensions, they don't have free will. They don't have happy and sad. They just have what they do. I hope this makes sense. So just like the angels and the D words, like they just like, they're in their bag and like that's just it. They don't have like, the angels don't be understanding us sometimes. They be looking at us like, what the fuck you stressing for? Let me handle it. Like they don't get it. And when I say they don't get it, it's not because they're not intelligent. It's because they don't live the same life as us. So when you went up to the law, I believe in the law of one. When you were up in the ethers with the spirit, truthfully, I just feel like we all chose our life. And I'm not trying to be too like, I don't want to be too broad because everything is different. But I do believe in soul contracts. I do believe that you had a hand in your life. Now, I've never been up there. I don't remember, just like the rest of us, when we came to this earth, I forgot just like the rest of us. So I don't want to speak too much on what I do, but from my studies and from what I've seen, you definitely have soul contracts. You definitely choose a lot of things that you go through in your life because you want to ascend yourself. So the more you go through, you actually should be happy. Like, I know I know you're like, what the fuck you mean, bitch? What you mean? Dead dark night of the soul. I know. But it's like your higher self knew. They was like, nah, I'm going to take it to the next level. Because when it came to your past life, the life that you lived before, like, you must have been so, whatever you were doing, you were advanced. And so when you went back into the ethers, right? You in the spirit, you looking down like, oh shit, okay. Well, I'm going to have my best friend. Because like they also say that your enemies are sometimes your best friend up in the ethers. That's a hard one too. Your op can be your best friend for real. That's crazy. That's what the comprehension level, baby. I be trying to just take little bite by bite because it's a lot to take in. You can deny yourself the information, or you could just like sleep on it and ask the spirit to work with you and open your mind. You know what I mean? That's what I do. So like I said, I saw somebody saying something like, this one girl, she said that, she thought she knew everything with the basics of spirituality. And then the spirit showed her, you don't know nothing. And this is a girl that I found who was talking about The Alchemist. Like I said, I'm late to the game. I never read The Alchemist, so I just downloaded it and everything. But it was interesting listening to her, because I said, wow, like what I was taught was that you never know anything, because it's so vast. And I think a good way to close this out is like this. The Creator created us. So I just don't really think it's possible for us to ever understand the Creator. I don't want to understand. I'm personally grateful to be here, because people be like, oh, prove that God is real. Prove. You woke up this morning without anybody doing it for you, didn't you? Did you wake yourself up? Now, I know my collective, y'all know better than that. But I'm just saying, people like to come at us, People, and even if they don't, like when we're scrolling and we're watching, it's okay to block people. Yo, I know people probably click my page all the time and see that they're fucking blocked. And they be like, I don't even know her. Yeah, and you ain't gonna get a chance to know me. I block people quick. And I have no shame about it, because you have to protect your own energy. When we're walking past people, you're picking up their energy. Like you're walking past their aura and you're getting their dirt up into yours. If they just got in an argument with their husband or wife and they walking past you, you pick up a little bit of that energy, whether you know it or not. So when we're on these phones and everything, some people say that phones are a portal. Some people say that phones are a form of time travel. And it is, because maybe I'll save that for another message. But, phones are also a form of time travel. They are a form of portal. So when you're like scrolling through, and I'm a spiritualist, all I have on my page is funny stuff, dogs, and spiritual and quantum physics. That's pretty much all I look at, right? So I scroll past people on TikTok all the time, or on Instagram all the time. But if I catch somebody who's spreading something that I don't believe, I block them really quick. Now, I don't do that to everybody. And I'm just sharing this with you guys so you don't gotta fucking stay and watch nobody if you don't want to watch them. You know what I'm trying to say? So you don't got to do none of that, because at the end of the day, you're intaking this information and you're programming it into your subconscious. You know what I'm trying to say? So don't let nobody beat you up through a phone. Don't let nobody come for you, because everybody is still learning. And if anybody ever tells you that they know everything, or like you have to come to them for something, like that's a damn lie. And you need to get them, you need to get as far away from them as possible, because they're not for you. For me, when it comes to people who are around you, who are trying to be part of your spiritual advancement, they should be people that try to bring you to the water to drink. If these people aren't trying to bring you to the water, if they're trying to bring you to them as if they're the water, then that's a fucking problem. Because just like you had to wake up with air in your lungs, they did too. So I think I was watching Sarah Jakes Roberts, this preacher. I love her. Sure do. I love Sarah Jakes Roberts. Y'all, if y'all like preaching, y'all should watch her, because she is a little younger. She's just more hip, And I love the way she preaches. And something she said was, when you wake up every morning, I think it was her that said it. When you wake up every morning with air in your lungs, that's the universe investing in you. So when somebody asks, oh, God, how do you know God is real? How do you have faith in something you don't know? Well, I do know, because I woke up today. Oh, well, everybody wakes up. They do. And why is that? Oh, well, you know what so, and it goes down that rabbit hole. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, know who you are, because, bitch, everybody figuring this shit out. And if the internet ever decides to just shut off one day, you're going to be glad that you stuck to what you know. You know what I'm saying? When you're, and what the truth is, some of these people just, they need validation. Some people go through spiritual psychosis. That's another thing. Some people go through spiritual psychosis. Look, so at the end of the day, don't let nobody bully you. If that works for you, if your candle magic works, period. That's it. Then that's it. If your spiritual path works for you, that's it. You know, that's all that matters, okay? If you read the Bible, because when I read the Bible, I be getting different messages from it. That's just me, you know? So that's what they always say about spirituality. They say, religion and spirituality. They say religion is like, what they say? Religion is like spirituality, experiencing someone else's spirituality. Like, kind of like, it's all an interpretation is what I'm trying to say. It's all an interpretation. So that's why you have to figure out what works for you. So when you go to church or when you watch these people, even if you're just spiritual and you just do spiritual things, you still have to identify that feeling that you get when the spirit is walking with you. You know what I mean? Like when you hear, because you know the truth when you hear it. Like that's just like even if you're in a relationship and somebody lying to you, or you got a homegirl or a homeboy or a family member, and you know they fucking lying, but they won't tell you. You get a feeling, you know, so you'll be like, all right, you know they ain't never gonna tell you the truth. Same thing with the religions and spiritualists and people that if you get readings from people or if you let people do lay hands on you and things like that. Look, you know the truth when you feel it, and so that's why you want to work on your higher self, because your higher self has lived a lot of lifetimes, and there's a reason why you're led to these people. When you are led to people, especially like when it comes to your spirit, when you're led to people, it's because there's something in them that your soul recognizes. So remember what I said. Everybody has to rely on the grace of the Creator to wake up in the morning. Like my girl said, when you have air in your lungs each morning, that's the universe investing in you. They decided, oh, she's worthy to get up today. Tap you, wake you up. Because how many people don't wake up? So, okay. I definitely love you guys. Oh, another thing. One more thing. If there's people popping up in your dreams, though, I would suggest doing a cord cutting, you know, or just call your energy back. You know what I mean? Cleanse your energy of these people. You don't have to do a whole cord cutting. I did see somebody say that, like, when you do a cord cutting, you should do, like, shadow work first to remove that person from your life. I do feel that way, but I also don't feel like you should not do it just because you're not completely clear of this person, you know? Because, like I said, somebody popped up in my dream recently that I haven't talked to in years. It was a woman, and I don't really feel like she has the best interest for me. And she was, like, slipping into some manifestation that I did in my dream, you know? And it's crazy because this one person, she's popped up in weird times on the physical plane where I'd be like, how the fuck did you know I was here? You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff, sometimes we feel like it's far-fetched, but it's not. When you start to understand that we really are spiritual beings living a human experience, it makes it easier. And if you guys are in my collective, you already know this. Sometimes you just like, again, the comprehension level is so vast. You know, it's very vast, you know. So I'm thinking about sacrifices, you know. I mean, I don't want to get into that, but when you start to learn how sacrifices work, you know, like it forces you to level up mentally. It forces you to level up spiritually. Like, oh my God, how could somebody ever sacrifice an animal? You know what I mean? I hope y'all know what I mean, you know? You could either explain this to a normie or those that get it. You know? And I don't even sacrifice animals. But I was forced to read the Bible again and start to really, really develop my mind. Because even me, at first, I was like, what? You know? But I had to sit there and develop my mind. Like, does that make sense? Like, one time, there was this, I'm going to just share this with you guys. There was this, what is it? A chicken factory. This was, I think over the summer, it was this chicken factory that burned to the fucking ground. And it was all over like the internet, right? But before it was on the internet, I had went to this little get together and I was drunk as a skunk. Well, I really wasn't that drunk. I think somebody laced my weed, to be honest with you. But that's another conversation because I only had like 2 drinks and a J. So anyway, I made it back home. I was okay. This is why I don't go out with people. That's another conversation though. So I remember laying on the couch and I'm feeling good, right? I'm just like chilling or whatever. And out of nowhere, okay, I start seeing this fucking rooster across my head, right? It's like the outline. It was like black in my head. And it was almost like a glow stick, like a white glow stick. And it was like a drawing of a rooster. And the rooster was like, oh, like this, right? Y'all, it's like 3 a.m. I'm like kind of tore up a little bit. But I'm chilling. I'm like in a happy mood. And I see this rooster in my head. And I'm like, I don't think nothing of it. Because I'm like kind of fucked up. I'm like, whatever. And then I see the rooster again. And then I see the rooster again. And again, I keep seeing it. Like every time I move, he'll hit me again. Like, boom. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So this was like 3 o'clock in the morning. So the next day I was going to a ritual by the water. You know what I'm talking about, right? I was going to watch somebody perform a ritual, right? So the next morning I had to go to the store and I bought like this white dress and a head wrap and stuff, right? So I'm at the store, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm at the store, I'm talking to my partner on the phone. I'm like, girl, I wonder what that rooster was, blah, 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 blah. Mind you, they're going to sacrifice the rooster at where I'm going that same day. So I'm like, oh, it must just be the rooster. You know, I'm not thinking anything of it. What? Come to find out, I look on the internet and it was like it was a big ass chicken farm burned down at the time that I saw the rooster. So that right there, personally, forced me to really forced me to be like, wait, why did I see this rooster? It was almost like the rooster, let me stop right there. But the rooster popped up to me and was in my mind differently. When the rooster came to me, when he was burning, because the way that I see it was one of the roosters out of that thing that was calling to me like, we're burning down, you know? To me, they're like, if we're going to burn down, we might as well be a sacrifice, you know? I mean, it's more to it. I just don't want to get too deep into it because, you know, this is different practices and stuff like that. But you see what I'm trying to say? It's like, I had never seen it. I had never been to a sacrifice. I had never been involved in anything like that. So I really had not had the experience. So when the rooster came to my mind, I'm thinking it's the rooster from the next day. Nah, it was one of the roosters in the thing that was burning down. And when he was in my head, the energy he was throwing at me was not, it was funny. It was just like, I can't even explain it, but those of you who get it, you get it, especially like an IFA practitioner and stuff like that. I'm not an IFA, but people who aren't IFA, I'm sure y'all really understand what I'm trying to say right now. Or any type of ATR usually, or something that does like, you know, that type of stuff. Listen, that rooster, when that rooster came to me, he wasn't scared. That's all I'm gonna say. So when he came to me, I'd never been to a ritual like that before. So I'm totally green at that point. I'm totally green. So when he in my head, I'm like, I'm laughing, bitch. Because I'm drunk. And me and the rooster laughing. Like, I can't explain it. I'm like, what is... And I'm making jokes the next day. I'm like, he act like he want me to... You know? I'm like, he act like he want to go. Like, you know, like, take me. Like, that's kind of the energy. So it forced me to really, really reevaluate things. So like I said, a lot of times we're on this 3D, things just seem a certain way, they manifest a certain way. Don't let nobody get in your ear. As long as you're practicing the right way and you're being safe, that's it. You don't gotta let nobody into your business. Don't tell nobody who your spirit guides are. Never tell them the names. I mean, like if you're married or something, okay, maybe you'll share that, but you just be very cautious of these people that you let into your space, because people are fucking liars and people can be tricksters. People can be jealous. I'm not trying to spit that, but I'm also not about to have y'all out here looking crazy, because a lot of times people are not like us. When we go and we give ourselves to the spirit and we start to be vessels for the light, you know, we change ourselves. But some of these people, they're still opportunists. If somebody's an opportunist, I think they're still going to be opportunists when they switch. They have to decide that they don't want to be that way anymore. They have to decide, just like we have to decide that we don't want to give into our shadow side anymore. You see what I'm saying? So I think this has been very, very great. Remember, when you're smoking and when you're drinking, you're opening up the spiritual realm. This is why we got to be careful what type of spirits that we're drinking, because the spirits, you see what I'm saying? Well, I definitely appreciate you guys being on here. I think that's a good way to close it out. Remember, if something is drying up, let that shit fall off. Period, point blank. Let the skin fall off to have new stuff come in. Okay? Love y'all.